What if the reason you are so easily frustrated is not because the world is suddenly against you, but because your spirit is utterly exhausted? Have you ever noticed how the smallest inconveniences can suddenly feel like an overwhelming catastrophe? There is a strange kind of freedom in finally admitting that you are not angry. You are just completely, deeply depleted. If you have ever felt stuck, anxious, emotionally exhausted, or constantly on edge, this is for you. 1. The snap. Why small things break us. Here is the truth few people want to face. The tighter you hold on to everything, the more you suffer when the slightest thing slips. You drop your keys. Someone takes too long to reply to a message. A car moves too slowly in front of you. A simple question is asked at the wrong moment. Suddenly, you explode. You feel a rush of intense, burning frustration. You snap at the people you love. You blame the situation. You blame the person. But deep down, it is not the situation. It is the crushing weight of everything else you are carrying. Buddhist wisdom teaches us to look at the root of our suffering, to understand the conditions that create our pain. True peace does not come from controlling the world around you, but from observing the true nature of your internal state. When we look closely at our sudden bursts of impatience, we often find they are not rooted in malice or genuine anger. They are rooted in a profound lack of inner space. We have filled every corner of our minds with obligations, worries, and endless tasks, leaving no room for the natural friction of life. Imagine a glass of water filled to the absolute brim. Not a single millimeter of empty space remains. The surface is tense, holding on by a thread. Now, imagine one single tiny drop of water falling into that glass. The water overflows. It spills everywhere, creating a mess. Was it that one tiny drop that caused the flood? No. It was the fact that the glass had absolutely no room left to receive it. This is your mind right now. This is your heart. You are moving through your daily life filled to the absolute brim with stress, hidden anxieties, and the silent pressure to keep moving forward. You are carrying the weight of your work, your family, and your uncertain future. So when a small problem arises at work, or when there is family conflict over a minor detail, it becomes the final drop. You overflow. We often judge ourselves harshly for these moments. We think we are failing. We tell ourselves we just need to try harder, to be more disciplined, to push through the exhaustion. But pushing harder is what emptied your well in the first place. Ask yourself honestly, think about your own life. When was the last time you lost your temper over something entirely insignificant? Look beneath the reaction. Were you actually angry at the event, or were you just desperately, quietly crying out for a moment of rest? What are you afraid will happen if you simply admit that you cannot do it all? Pause, breathe. The next time you feel that sudden flash of heat, that immediate urge to react to a small inconvenience, do not judge the emotion. Observe the thought without following it. Let the feeling rise without making it your identity. Recognize it not as a failure of character, but as a gentle warning light. It is simply a signal that you are running on empty. Stop trying to force the glass to hold more water. But recognizing the overflowing glass is only the first step. To truly heal this cycle of endless exhaustion, we must look at why we refuse to stop pouring. We must confront the dangerous lie we tell ourselves to justify our own suffering. Because somewhere along the way, we started calling our total depletion by a very different name. 2. The illusion of ambition. What if the harder you push yourself, the further you drift from the peace you are trying to find? Here is the truth few people want to face. We have built a world that quietly rewards us for destroying our own well-being. We have been taught that if we are not exhausted, we are not trying hard enough. Think about how we live today. We wear our exhaustion like a badge of honor. We stay up late working, checking screens in the dark, comparing our busy schedules to others, and feeling a deep, unshakable guilt if we spend an hour doing absolutely nothing. We try to control the timing of our success. We seek approval through our productivity. We believe that if we just push a little harder, work a little longer, and sacrifice a little more, we will finally reach a place where we are safe enough to rest. We call this endless, relentless grind ambition. But in reality, it is often just a socially acceptable way to run from ourselves. Buddhist wisdom teaches the path of the middle way and the concept of right effort. True effort is not about forcing, pushing, or punishing the body and mind. It is balanced, like tuning the strings of an instrument. If you pull the string too tightly, it will snap. If you leave it too loose, it will not play. In Buddhist thought, attaching our self-worth to our constant output is a deep source of suffering. We cling to the illusion that our busyness proves our value to the world. Imagine a small wooden boat moving through rough water. The person rowing is exhausted, their hands blistered, their muscles burning. They row fiercely, fighting the heavy current, determined to reach a shore they cannot even see. They row with such desperate speed that they do not notice a heavy iron anchor is still dragging deep beneath the dark surface. They believe their frantic, painful movement means they are making progress, but they are only wearing themselves down, fighting a resistance they do not need to fight. This is how we treat our own lives. We feel the immense pressure to succeed. We feel the heavy fear of falling behind in life. We see the curated lives of others and feel a quiet panic that we are not doing enough. So we row harder. We sacrifice our quiet moments. We snap at the people we love because we are so focused on fighting the current. We mistake the pain of the struggle for the meaning of the journey. Ask yourself honestly. Think about your own life. Who are you trying to prove your worth to? What are you truly afraid will happen if you simply stop moving for a single day? Is your frantic pace actually bringing you closer to happiness, or is it just feeding your fear of not being enough? Pause. Breathe. Notice the tension in your body right now. You do not have to earn your right to exist through endless labor. Let the feeling of inadequacy rise without making it your identity. Stop trying to row against the current while dragging a heavy anchor behind you. Do your part, then release the outcome, because peace is not a reward you receive for burning yourself to the ground. It is the space you allow yourself to occupy right now. But letting go of this false ambition is frightening, because when we finally put down the heavy oars, when we finally stop the frantic movement and sit still, we are left entirely alone in the quiet. And this is where the next truth begins. Because beneath the noise of our busy lives is a deeper, quieter pain that we have been trying very hard not to hear. 3. The hidden wound. What if your constant need to be productive is not a drive toward the future, but a shield against the past? Here is the truth few people want to face. We often use our own exhaustion as a hiding place. The tighter you hold on to your busyness, the more you are protecting an invisible wound. We fill every waking hour with noise. We listen to something while we cook. We scroll through our phones the second we wake up, and we create endless lists of tasks. We are terrified of the empty space, because when the work stops, when the distractions finally fade, we are left entirely alone with ourselves. We are forced to feel the grief we ignored, the loneliness we denied, or the quiet fear that we are fundamentally unworthy of love unless we are useful. We replay old conversations, seeking a different outcome. We cling to relationships that drain us, simply because the alternative is sitting alone with our own heavy thoughts. Buddhist wisdom teaches the profound importance of sitting with our discomfort. In Buddhist thought, the root of much of our suffering is aversion, our desperate instinct to run away from what is painful. We run from the quiet because we are afraid of what will arise in the stillness. But Buddhism reminds us that whatever we refuse to face, will continue to quietly control us. Mindfulness is not just a tool to relax, it is the courage to stop running. When we finally turn and face the shadow we have been fleeing, we discover that it is only made of old memories and passing emotions. Imagine a locked door in a quiet, empty house. You know there is something heavy behind that door, a sorrow you do not want to see. So, instead of opening it, you run around the house. You paint the walls, you fix the roof. You invite strangers over to fill the rooms with loud conversation. You exhaust yourself making the outside of the house look perfect. But no matter how tired you become, at the end of the day the guests leave. The noise stops, the sun goes down, and you are left standing in the dark hallway, staring at that same locked door. This is how we live when we are running from our own pain. We use work, stress, and social media to keep the house loud. We engage in arguments or compare ourselves to strangers on the internet to distract ourselves from our internal quiet. We chase promotion after promotion, hoping the external applause will drown out the internal silence. We tell ourselves we are just being responsible, ambitious, and focused. But, in reality, we are just terrified of unlocking the door. Ask yourself, think about your own life. When all the tasks are finally done and the room is completely quiet, what is the feeling you are trying so hard not to feel? What are you afraid will happen if you simply let the sadness, the anger, or the loneliness rise to the surface? Is your busyness bringing you peace, or is it feeding your fear? Pause, breathe. You do not need to fight the silence. Sit in the quiet for just one moment today. Let the heavy feeling arise without trying to fix it. Observe the thought without following it. Stop trying to paint the walls of a house that just wants to be rested in, because true healing does not come from building a louder life. It comes from finally having the courage to make peace with the quiet. But when you finally stop running, you will notice something troubling about where your mind goes. Because our fear of stillness is often tied to our desperate need to control a place that does not even exist yet. 4. Living in the future. What if your entire life is happening right now, but you are not actually here to live it? Here is the truth few people want to face. Most of your exhaustion does not come from the work you are doing today. It comes from the massive, invisible burden of carrying tomorrow. We spend so much of our time trying to control a reality that does not yet exist. We worry endlessly about the future. We agonize over how a project will turn out, whether an opportunity will slip away, or when we will finally feel like we have made it. We endure the present moment only as a tedious bridge, a stepping stone we must cross to reach a supposedly better future. We wait for the weekend, we wait for the promotion, we wait for someone to finally understand us, but when that future finally arrives, we do not stop to enjoy it. We immediately begin worrying about the next one. Buddhist wisdom teaches the profound truth of the present moment. In Buddhist thought, anxiety is often just the mind's desperate attempt to grasp what is not yet real. We suffer immensely because our body is breathing in the present, but our mind is trapped in a tomorrow that is purely an illusion. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is not to abandon all plans, but to stop clinging so violently to the outcome. When we detach our peace from a future destination, we suddenly reclaim our energy right here, exactly where we stand. Imagine a tired traveler walking through a beautiful, quiet forest. The air is cool, and sunlight filters gently through the tall branches. But instead of looking at the trees or the clear path beneath their feet, the traveler is staring intently at a heavy map. They are obsessed with a destination miles away. Because their eyes are glued to the map, they trip over roots. They scrape their arms on thorns. They grow intensely angry at the forest, entirely because they refuse to look at where they actually are. They miss the beauty of the journey because they are consumed by the fear of never arriving. This is exactly how we treat our own days. We sit at the dinner table with the people we love, but our mind is silently drafting tomorrow's emails. We lie in bed, desperate for sleep, but instead, we spend hours rehearsing stressful conversations that have not even happened yet. We feel the heavy pressure to succeed, the fear of failure, and the anxiety of falling behind in life. We lose our patience with small interruptions because they threaten the fragile timeline we have built in our heads. We are staring so hard at the map that we are tripping over our own lives. Ask yourself, think about your own life. How much of your mental exhaustion is caused by things that have not actually happened yet? What are you missing right now because your mind has already abandoned today to live in tomorrow? Is this constant forward thinking bringing you peace or feeding your anxiety? Pause, breathe. Bring your attention back to the physical feeling of the ground beneath your feet. Feel the air moving into your lungs. Let the future remain an unwritten page. Do your part today, then release the outcome. Stop trying to control the forest while ignoring the steps you are taking, because peace is not found by finally securing a flawless, perfectly controlled future. It is found when you stop running away from the present, but returning to the present requires us to change how we respond to the sudden friction of our daily lives. We must learn how to handle the inevitable sparks without burning down the house. And this is where the next truth begins. 5. The power of the pause. What if your immediate reaction is not actually who you are, but simply a heavy momentum you have forgotten how to stop? Here is the truth few people want to face. We spend most of our lives entirely at the mercy of our own reflexes. You are tired. You are running late. Someone asks a simple question at the wrong time, and you instantly snap. You receive an unexpected message, and a wave of anxiety immediately washes over you. You feel ignored by someone you care about, and instantly a cold resentment builds in your chest. We believe these fast, painful reactions are simply our personality. We say, "This is just how I am," but it is not who you are. It is the depletion speaking. It is the absolute lack of space in your mind. Buddhist wisdom teaches us the profound importance of the space between what happens to us and how we respond to it. In Buddhist thought, the mind is naturally clear, like an open sky. The sudden anger, the sharp fear, the immediate frustration, these are just clouds passing through. But we have forgotten how to be the sky. We have trained ourselves to instantly become the cloud. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is the power of the pause before reacting. It is in that tiny, silent gap between the trigger and the response that all of our personal freedom lives. Imagine a deep, still lake reflecting the night sky. The surface is perfectly calm. Then, a heavy stone is thrown into the water. Instantly, violent ripples spread out, breaking the reflection, distorting everything. If you try to stop the ripples by splashing your own hands into the water, you only create more chaos. You make the water rougher. The only way the lake returns to peace is if it simply absorbs the impact and waits. The water does not fight the ripples, it just gives them the time and space to slowly fade. This is exactly what happens in our daily lives. A sudden criticism at work, a petty argument in your relationship, or the heavy pressure to succeed when you already feel behind in life, these are the stones thrown into your mind. When you instantly react, when you snap back or panic to regain control, you are frantically splashing your hands in the water. You are creating more turbulence because you are desperate to fix the feeling immediately. But the true power lies in simply letting the stone sink. Ask yourself, think about your own life. How many of your deepest regrets were born in the first 3 seconds after you were triggered? How much suffering could have been avoided if you had simply waited a few moments before speaking? What are you so afraid will happen if you do not react immediately? Is your instant defense bringing you peace, or is it only feeding the storm? pause. Breathe. The next time you feel that sudden heat rising in your chest, do absolutely nothing. Wait. Let the feeling rise without making it your identity. Observe the anger or the anxiety as it moves through you, but do not give it your voice. Let the storm pass without becoming the storm, because peace is not a life without stones being thrown. It is the quiet power to let the ripples fade on their own. But to hold on to that peaceful space, we must first understand why the stones hurt us so deeply in the first place. We must examine the fragile image of ourselves we are fighting so hard to protect. 6. Dropping the heavy identity. What if the hardest thing to let go of is not your exhaustion, but the version of yourself you have built around it? Here is the truth few people want to face. We are secretly attached to our own depletion. We have tied our entire sense of worth to how much pain and pressure we can endure. We live in a world that constantly asks us what we do, not who we are. Over time, we start to believe the answer. We think we are our output. We think we are our ability to solve problems, support others, and handle endless stress without breaking. When you are ignored, when you fail, or when you simply want to rest, you do not just feel disappointed. You feel fundamentally useless. You lose your patience so quickly when things go wrong, because every small interruption feels like a threat to your value as a human being. We cling desperately to the identity of the one who does it all, even as it crushes the life out of us. Buddhist wisdom teaches the profound concept of non-attachment, not just to material things, but to our own identities. In Buddhist thought, much of our suffering comes from trying to freeze a flowing river. We try to solidify a permanent, unchanging self out of things that are always shifting our energy, our jobs, our social standing. When we attach our worth to an identity built on constant productivity, we are doomed to suffer the moment we inevitably grow tired. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is that you are not the roles you play. You are the quiet awareness behind them. Imagine a bird trapped in an open cage. The bird has lived in the cage for so long that it believes the metal bars are the only things giving its life meaning. It spends its days frantically pacing the floor, exhausting itself to maintain the small, rigid space. It cries out about the tightness of the cage, the pain in its wings, and the relentless pacing. But the door to the cage is wide open. The limitless sky is right there, yet the bird refuses to fly away. It is too terrified of who it would be if it were no longer the bird in the cage. It chooses the exhaustion it knows over the vast freedom it cannot predict. This is how we hold on to our heavy identities. We complain about the pressure to succeed. We feel emotionally exhausted by the burden of keeping everything together, comparing ourselves to others, and managing relentless work stress. But when we are finally given a moment to rest, we panic. We instantly fill the silence with another task or another worry. We refuse to walk out of the open door because we are terrified of the empty sky. We are afraid that if we stop being the person who constantly sacrifices, we will be left behind and forgotten. Ask yourself, think about your own life. Who are you when the work is completely finished? What are you so afraid will happen if you drop the heavy identity of being the strong, endlessly busy one? Is this identity bringing you peace, or is it feeding your fear of being unlovable? Pause. Breathe. You do not have to earn your right to exist through your labor. Notice the deep urge to be useful today, and just observe the thought without following it. Let the feeling of guilt rise without making it your reality. Stop trying to prove your worth to a world that will never be completely satisfied. Because true peace is not finally becoming the most perfect, productive version of yourself. It is having the courage to step out of the cage and leave the heavy armor behind. But when you finally put that armor down, you will find that underneath it, you have been starving for a very long time. And this is where the next truth begins, because letting go of exhaustion leaves an empty space that must be gently nourished. 7. Refilling the empty well. What if the harshest, most unforgiving voice in your life is not the world around you, but the one echoing inside your own head? Here is the truth few people want to face. You cannot heal your exhaustion with more punishment. When our patience finally breaks and we snap over a small inconvenience, our immediate reaction is rarely forgiveness. Instead, it is a heavy, crushing guilt. We are brutal to ourselves when we fail to keep up the frantic pace. We tell ourselves we should be better, stronger, more disciplined, and more capable. We beat ourselves up for being tired. We look at others who seem to be managing perfectly fine, and we feel a deep shame for falling behind in life. We treat self-compassion as a luxury, or worse, as laziness. We believe that if we do not constantly criticize ourselves, we will stop growing. Buddhist wisdom teaches the profound necessity of loving kindness, and it insists that this kindness must first be directed inward. In Buddhist thought, suffering is a natural part of the human experience, but we multiply our own suffering endlessly when we add fierce self-judgment to our pain. You would not aggressively whip a weary traveler who has collapsed by the side of the road from pure exhaustion. Yet, this is exactly how we treat our own minds. Buddhism reminds us that true transformation does not come from self-hatred. It comes from radical, gentle acceptance. Imagine an old stone well that has run completely dry during a long, harsh drought. You walk to the well, desperate for a drink. You lower the wooden bucket, but it hits dry dirt. You pull it up empty. Instead of understanding the drought, you grow furiously angry at the well. You lower the bucket again, throwing it down harder, violently scraping the bottom, demanding water that simply is not there. You kick the stones. But the well is not broken. It is not failing you. It is simply empty. The only way it will ever provide water again is if it is left alone to catch the quiet, gentle rain. This is exactly what we do to our own spirits. We force ourselves to keep giving when there is nothing left. After a long week of relentless work, stress, and quiet anxieties, you finally have a moment of rest. But instead of letting the rain fall, you spend that time feeling intensely guilty for not being productive. You feel ashamed that you have no energy left for your friends or your family. You are violently scraping the bottom of a dry well, demanding water from a soul that is already parched. Ask yourself, think about your own life. If a friend came to you completely exhausted, overwhelmed, and holding back tears, would you speak to them the way you speak to yourself? What are you afraid will happen if you finally forgive yourself for being tired? Is your relentless self-criticism actually bringing you peace, or is it just feeding your depletion? Pause. Breathe. Place a hand over your heart right now. Let the feeling of inadequacy rise without making it your identity. You do not need to earn the right to rest. Offer yourself the exact same gentleness you so freely give to others. Stop violently scraping the dirt at the bottom of the well. Let the quiet rain fall. Because peace is not a reward you receive for punishing yourself into perfection. It is the grace you offer yourself when you are entirely undone. But once the well begins to slowly fill again, how do we move forward? How do we engage with the demands of life without immediately draining ourselves all over again? And this is where the next truth begins. Because taking action is still necessary, but the place you act from must change completely. 8. Right effort. What if the answer is not to stop moving entirely, but to stop moving with such profound desperation? Here is the truth few people want to face. We have forgotten how to work without going to war with ourselves. We live in a constant state of extremes. We believe we must either be grinding relentlessly, pushing our minds to the absolute edge, or collapsing completely in total exhaustion. We approach our daily tasks with clenched jaws and tight fists. Every obligation met, every conversation had, every small goal pursued is done with an underlying tension, as if we are fighting an invisible enemy. We try to force things to happen. We try to control the exact timing of our success. We try to force people to understand us, or force a relationship to be something it is not ready to be. We exhaust ourselves not just from the action itself, but from the immense emotional friction we bring to every single step. Buddhist wisdom teaches the profound principle of right effort. In Buddhist thought, action is necessary, but the quality of the energy behind the action changes everything. Right effort is the quiet, steady balance between doing nothing and doing too much. We are taught to act with clear intention, but to completely detach from the immediate result. When we act out of fear, anxiety, or a desperate need to prove our worth, our effort drains us entirely. But when we act with a steady, mindful focus, moving without clinging so tightly to the outcome, our energy becomes pure and sustainable. Imagine a quiet gardener planting a small seed in the dark earth. The gardener knows they must take action. They must dig the soil, place the seed gently, and water it. This is their effort. But what if the gardener becomes overwhelmed with anxiety? What if they grow terrified that their seed is falling behind the other plants in the garden? In a sudden panic, they dig into the dirt and pull the tiny green sprout upward, trying to force it to grow faster. In their frantic, desperate attempt to control the timing of the growth, they rip the fragile roots. They destroy the very thing they were trying so desperately to nurture. This is exactly how we destroy our own peace. We pull at the roots of our lives. We damage our relationships by constantly demanding reassurance or seeking approval because we feel insecure. We obsess over our progress at work, comparing ourselves to others, trying to drag our careers forward out of a deep fear of falling behind in life. We refuse to let the seed simply grow in the darkness. We confuse our anxious, controlling, meddling with genuine ambition. We believe that if we just pull a little harder, we will finally be safe. Ask yourself, think about your own life. Where are you violently pulling at the roots because you refuse to trust the process? What are you trying so desperately to force right now? Is this frantic effort bringing you peace, or is it slowly killing the joy of the journey? Pause. Breathe. Notice the tension in your shoulders right now. You do not have to fight the earth to make the flower bloom. Let the urge to control the timing rise without making it your action. Do your part. Water the ground, and then release the outcome. Stop trying to drag the future into the present, because peace is not the complete absence of action. It is action entirely stripped of fear. But as we learn to move through our days without that heavy, desperate tension, we inevitably arrive at the most quiet, profound realization of all. And this is where the final truth begins. Because the ultimate cure for our deep, enduring depletion is not found in a distant future, but in a place we have been running from all along. 9. The return to stillness. What if the peace you have been desperately chasing has been quietly waiting for you to simply stop running? Here is the truth few people want to face. The journey of letting go does not end with a sudden, magical burst of endless energy. It ends with a quiet, profound acceptance of exactly who you are and exactly where you stand. Let us return to that sudden flash of anger. Think back to the overflowing glass, to the moment when a dropped key, a delayed message, or a slow driver felt like an unbearable catastrophe. For so long, you believed that sudden snap meant you were failing. You believed that if you were truly strong, truly ambitious, you would be able to knee every weight of the world without ever feeling tired. But you were never failing. You were just entirely, deeply depleted. Buddhist wisdom does not ask you to become a perfect, unfeeling stone that never reacts. It simply asks you to stop punishing the water for overflowing. It asks you to look at the massive, invisible burden of your daily life and realize that you do not have to carry all of it today. You can stop calling your total exhaustion by the name of ambition. You can stop using your relentless busyness as a shield to hide your quiet wounds. Imagine a massive, ancient tree standing alone at the edge of a great open field. When a heavy storm rolls in, the tree does not tense its branches. It does not try to fight the dark clouds, nor does it attempt to hold back the rushing wind. If it made its branches completely rigid, the sheer force of the storm would snap its limbs in half. Instead, the tree simply stands. It lets the wind rush completely through its leaves. It allows the heavy rain to fall. It bends, it sways, and it waits. It survives the storm exactly because it does not try to fight it. This is what it means to finally return to stillness. When the quiet anxieties of life arise, when you feel the heavy pressure to succeed, or when the fear of falling behind in life begins to whisper in your ear, you do not have to rigidly fight it. You do not have to fill the silence with noise or frantically search for a distraction. You can just let the storm pass. You can observe the heavy thought without following it. You can let the feeling rise without making it your identity. Think about that. Think about the incredible relief of finally putting down the heavy anchor you have been dragging behind your boat. Think about what it would feel like to stop living in a tomorrow that does not yet exist and simply breathe the air that is in your lungs right now. You have spent so much of your life trying to force the door open, trying to pull the seed from the earth, and trying to force yourself to be a flawless machine. Pause, breathe, let that sink in. You are allowed to be empty sometimes. You are allowed to take the heavy armor off. You do not have to chase what is already leaving, and you do not have to dread what has not yet arrived. You do not need to earn your right to exist. The world will not collapse just because you finally decide to rest. Let life meet you exactly where you are. If these lessons touched your heart, share this video with someone who may need a little more peace today. You can let go now.